The Jags are all alone in first place in the AFC South.
Prepared ourselves, worked our butts off. We knew we were going to win this game.
But it's anything but lonely. The teal train is barreling down the tracks toward the playoffs.
Blake is starting to own the offense.
The Houston Texans set to get run over for a second time.
Fowler at the 20. Fowler, touchdown, Jags.
We are counting down to kickoff, live from Everbank Field.
Now, this is Action Sports Jax, Countdown to Kickoff, sponsored by your local Ford dealers.
Here we go, Jacksonville, a beautiful day in December at Everbank Field in downtown Jacksonville. That's on the field, off the field, and high above the field. When's the last time the Jags fans had anything like this to be excited about? And trust me, they are fired up everywhere you go this week. Jags hats, Jags shirts, people talking Jags. That's the way it's supposed to be. We talk Jags right now, live from Everbank Field on Countdown to Kickoff. Brent Martineau along with Dan Hicken. Dan, standing room only tickets being sold for this game. It will be another sellout against Houston.
What a difference a decade makes, Brent. December usually dismal around these parts. At least the last 10 years it has been, right? We're wondering if we're going to be picking second, third, or fourth. No, not today. 3 simple words for this Jaguars franchise. Win, and you're in.
And there's even more on the line than that. A division and maybe even a bye. We'll get into it. But first, there is a dose of not so great news. Leonard Fournette will not play in this football game. That means he will miss his third game of 2017 in this fantastic rookie season that he is having. That'll hurt the Jags a little bit. It's a quad injury. He missed practice all week, so the Jags are being cautious now that they know they're likely going to make a little bit of a playoff run. Chris Ivory will get the start.
Our team is all set to break down this Jaguars team in this game. We've got Stuart Weber, our quarterback David Garrard is along, John Bachman, and of course Mike Burrish will talk about this beautiful day in Jacksonville that hopefully will get much more beautiful around 4:15 today. And by the way, if you can't get down here, you can watch the game, but just a reminder, it's on Fox 30 today, cross-flexed over from CBS.
There is so much to watch for today throughout the entire day, not just here in Jacksonville at Everbank Field, but of course for this football team, there's a lot at stake, and that's our opening drive. Number 1, a win today clinches the playoff spot. Just a reminder, it's been a full decade since the Jags have made the postseason. Secondly, a win keeps the Jags in the driver's seat to win the division and stay ahead of the Titans, and that would mean a home playoff game. And how about a first-round bye in the playoffs? That's exactly what will happen if the Jaguars win the next 3 and the Patriots lose one more game. So here's the deal. The Jags are rooting for the Pittsburgh Steelers of all teams.
What?
If they want to get a little break in the first week of the playoffs. So, Dan, I wore a little black and gold, yellow, whatever you want to call it. A little Steelers colors.
Does that count as a terrible tie?
I guess so. A terrible tie.
It's a terrible tie. By the way, you want to talk about great football today. After you watch the Jags win on Fox 30, you can flip over to CBS 47 and watch the Patriots lose to the Steelers, and everybody will be happy. But right now, today, we're focused on the AFC South standings because there's still a playoffs to get into, and there's a division to win. And suddenly, in this 2-horse race, down the stretch they come, and it's Jaguar in the lead. And by the way, Tennessee is not playing great football right now. The Jags control their own destiny. Those other 2 teams, they're filed under. It doesn't matter, and who cares?
Yeah, we might be getting a little carried away with all the bye talk. You got to take care of the division first. And
right.
This AFC South is still up for grabs. The Titans face a resurgent San Francisco 49ers team on the road. They stayed out west because they lost at Arizona last week, then play San Francisco this week. The Niners have won a couple in a row since Jimmy Garoppolo took over. They're a dangerous team right now. They beat the Texans last week.
One of the fun things we've been able to do on Countdown to Kickoff is play the if the playoffs were to start today. We haven't done that in a long time as well. Well, if the season ended today, right now, the Jags would be hosting a playoff game at the bank. That's great news, taking on the Buffalo Bills. But, gang, another Patriot loss, and all bets are off. Man, stay tuned.
Wow, there's a lot that can happen in the last few weeks of this football season, in the regular season. You know, people are here at the bank today. It's going to be sold out. They're excited about Jaguars football. They're excited about this defense and winning football. But the reason why people say, hey, might be able to make a little bit of a run, Dan, is because of number 5.
Unbelievable performance by Blake Bortles, especially the last 2 weeks. Brent, consider these numbers. In the 2 games in December, Blake Bortles is number 1 in the NFL amongst all the quarterbacks in passer rating. Hard to imagine. Let's give the guy some credit, but let's also remember this. He's always struggled a little bit against the team from Houston.
To the block at the left tackle. As it is picked off on the play. Grabbed by Jackson. He will take it. Jackson takes it in.
It's no secret Blake Bortles has really struggled against the Houston Texans.
You seem to find a lull and you can't get out of it. I mean, there's nothing else to do besides keep your head down and keep working.
The numbers not pretty, just 1 in 6, more picks than touchdowns, and less than 200 yards passing per game, along with 24 sacks against the team from Texas.
Houston, you know, is a 2-time division champ. And they've won a lot of games at the end of the year, and they've beaten us a ton.
The good news, none of the past matters. What counts is the present. And Blake is living in the here and now quite nicely. In fact, in his last 2 games, Bortles has never been better, completing more than 70% of his passes for almost 600 yards, 4 touchdowns, and most importantly, no turnovers.
To be able to go week to week and you see each guy feel more comfortable and confident within the system, and be able to go out there and play more freely and with less clutter inside their head, for me, that's probably been the most important thing that you've seen, kind of offensively us grow.
Today, it's Texans time, and Vegas loves Blake and the Jags. Double-digit favorites at home for the 2nd time in the last 3 weeks. Don't bet against him. He knows a win puts the Jags in the postseason for the first time in a decade.
Brent, I got to say, in watching that story, my goodness, those balls, those spirals that Blake is throwing, unbelievable. Look, let's be honest, Blake's been known to throw a couple wobblers, a lot of wobblers in his career, but man, those passes look crisp and tight, and one reason why he's been playing so well the last couple of weeks.
And now he has a chance to elevate this team into the postseason. The last guy to do that, David Garrard. Let's send it back to the Action Sports Jax studios. Action Sports Jax, Stuart Weber standing by with our quarterback, DG, and more on BB5.
So much of the credit for touchdowns often goes to the wide receiver, but a lot of it has to do with the way Blake Bortles is throwing the ball. It is so much improved from what we've seen in the past. David Garrard, what's different?
You can just see the confidence in Blake. You can tell by the way he's throwing the ball. You can see there's much more zip on his passes. He has a better spiral most of the time, and it's pretty amazing to see. This is what we've been waiting to see. This is the Blake we've been looking for, and he's finally putting it together, finally getting into a groove. He's getting comfortable. The team is playing well around him, so it just shows through his passes.
It really lets you do a lot of different things as well. You talk about the Keelan Cole catch. He had to put it on that exact spot for that play to be as successful as it was.
Exactly, and those are the kind of plays you want your coaches to call, but they have to feel confident and comfortable with being able to call these plays to feel that you can make those throws. And once he makes 1 or 2 of them, coaches get a little bit more confident in his throws, and he's going to call more and more of those big plays like Keelan Cole, which is what we love to see around here.
And the best part is it can only help the offense when it comes to the run game.
Absolutely.
As well. Guys, let's go back to you.
Bortles and that win over Seattle have put a buzz into this city like we haven't seen in a long time. But something else happened in that Seattle game. The end of it was a bit ugly for the Seattle players, for even some of the Jags fans. No suspensions for the Seattle players, but there were some fines.
Yeah, I don't want to get into the fine money because it's grossly unfair, but we'll talk about that at a later time. Right now, though, let's bring in Action News Jax anchor John Bachman. And, John, the Jaguars took some quick action against some unruly fans.
The team says it's close to identifying 4 people who threw 5 different things at Seahawks players.
They need to get somebody from the Seattle staff to walk Quentin Jefferson into the locker room.
And look, somebody threw something at him from the stands.
It was a disappointing way to end a Jaguars victory.
The fans should not throw things. Those fans will be ejected.
None of the objects, which included drinks and food, hit Jefferson. He was held back from climbing all the way into the stands.
I never saw it, but yeah, going in the stands probably isn't too smart.
Fans we spoke with agreed with Blake Bortles.
Well, the players should have been the professional and should have just kept going through the tunnel. Then it would have never even gotten to that point. But the fans, there's just no cause for that.
The Jaguars aren't naming the fans involved, but say if they're season ticket holders, they will lose their member privileges indefinitely. They'll also be banned from buying future single game tickets and attending any games. Back to you.
High above Everbank Field, where it's more than just excitement heating up. Let's bring in Action News Jax First Alert Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish for today's Game Day forecast.
Hey, good morning. Much different weather pattern today compared to a week ago. Felt like winter, felt like good old football weather a week ago. Not so today, but it'll be nice. Temperatures in the 60s this morning, quickly warming, and we'll be into the low 70s for a good part of the game. We'll have a partly cloudy sky. At times the clouds will move in, but there'll be other times when the sun is out, and it will be quite warm. Just a breeze out of the east-southeast near 10 miles per hour. Won't be much of a factor. So really a very mild day, some 30 degrees warmer in the second half than it was 1 week ago. Let's go Jags and wrap up a playoff spot.
Coming up on Countdown to Kickoff, the Jags are saying this Texans Jaguars game is presented by SunPass. Well, can Houston pass? That will be the story. These cornerbacks are covering everything. So let's cover them. The superiority of the secondary next.